From Hello, should the Seahawks move up for Caleb Farley? Talent-wise, I love the idea. The problem comes, however, as it relates to actually getting him. Seattle does not have draft capital. So getting Caleb Farley is difficult unless he slides all the way to late round 2, in which case the back's messed up and you probably don't want him anyway. From Hello Higffm, should the Seahawks draft Wyatt Davis? If he's there in round 2, I'm not going to complain about it. Davis only played right guard for Ohio State, and I think long-term looking maybe more of a left guard. You have Gabe Jackson, and you have Damian Lewis. So from that perspective, guard is not as big of a need anymore. I might look towards a center instead, be it a Landon Dickerson or could for even a Quinn Miners in round 2. From Nicholas Porter, should Seattle draft or sign a wide receiver? My approach would be this. For now, I would focus on the draft. I would see if I can get a great one in round 2 or if someone slides to me in round 4. And if not, I revisit that after the draft. There are still some decent players out there on the open market. So I would say draft first and then post-draft see what the value looks like in free agency. From Adam White, will the Seahawks add another pass rusher? Probably not. I think Seattle's in a good enough spot in terms of their defensive line to not need one. They have Carlos Dunlap, have Benson Mayowa, Kerry Hyder, Darrell Taylor, Rasheem Green / LJ Clark can play inside-outside there, Alton Robinson as well. So they have guys to fill that role. Like all 6 of those dudes, I think they could make the roster. So it's possible, but I think Seattle's pretty much done at the edge rusher spot.
So go ahead and spam the comments. I want you to shout out your city. Let me know where you guys are watching from. We know we have a lot of different viewers here at Chat Sports, and we know we get people far and wide. And you know what, man? I always appreciate the amount of people we get here watching our shows. We get people in different countries as well. So what I want you to do is shout out your city. And then when you're shouting out your city, now I can see where you guys are watching from. But this is what I want you to do. Go ahead and download the Newsbreak app. So I don't care where you guys are watching. We got people in Dallas, Detroit, Charlotte, Las Vegas. I'm looking at the live chat right now. Whatever your city is, go download the Newsbreak app. That way you can stay up to date on the latest news, what's going on with weather. I mean, for us right now in Dallas, Texas, there's a tornado warning. You know how I found that out? The Newsbreak app. Go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. Download the app. That way you're staying up to date on everything going on. If you want to know what's going on in pop culture, you got that as well. Looking for some cool places to eat, that's there as well. Even more sports content. That's not just Chat Sports. If you want even more sports content from us, we're also on the Newsbreak app. So go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. I promise y'all, it is your one-stop shop for everything going on in your city. And again, it doesn't matter what city you're in. It doesn't matter what your zip code is. Newsbreak is an awesome app to be able to have. So one more time, you got to go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. You have to use that link. That way we get credit. So I'm just being honest with you. I'm trying to be transparent. It helps us out when you use that link. Local news and weather, politics, food, pop culture, sports content. And if you want to find more sports from us, all you got to do, download the app, look in that search bar, type in Cowboys Report, Raiders Report, 49ers Report, whatever your favorite team is, look it up in that search bar, and I guarantee you'll like what you get.
A super chat here from Burnin Spades, his mock draft here. Lawrence 1, Wilson 2, Fields 3, Pitts 4, Chase 5, Waddle 6, Smith's at 7, Sewell at 8, Tan at 9, and Pay at 10. I hate the number 10 pick. If the Cowboys draft Kwity Paye at 10, just fade me now. I hate that idea. Otherwise, a good mock draft. From Elijah, where does Najee Harris land? So a couple teams are out there. Jets could be in play. The Falcons in round 2 kind of seem like his floor as far as I'm concerned. Steelers, Bills in round 1 as well. Those 4 teams make the most sense to me in terms of Najee Harris destinations. From Ray Martinez, biggest jump in first-round prospect right now. Where does he go? From the conversations in the past month, the media, myself included, have caught up on Jamin Davis, the linebacker from Kentucky. I think he goes round 1. Probably not top 15, top 25, top 20. That could be in play. So keep an eye out on Jamin Davis from Kentucky, a linebacker. From Jake F., where do the quarterbacks go after the Darnold trade? Good question. Quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. Let's say it's Mac Jones at 3. Falcons go quarterback at 4. I think Denver's going to have their chance for a quarterback at 9. If Jones does not go 9, or does not go 3, New England could move up to go get their quarterback as well. Question for you guys now. Who has had the best offseason so far? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in.
Let's go now to Greg Jones here. What's the Seahawks' biggest draft need and who they pick at 56? And yes, I understand it's Robert Saleh, not Adam Gase. My mistake. All right, Greg Jones, what's the Seahawks' biggest draft need and who could they pick at number 56? So right now they have pick 56. They have a 4th-round pick, and they also, I believe, have a pick in the 7th round. I mean, I'm probably going to go out there and say cornerback. Cornerback's probably the biggest need. And then if you're going to go out and do it, Seattle sometimes can get weird, and normally their weird picks come in the 1st round, but I'm going to go with a cornerback that reminds me a lot of what Seattle tries to do, and I'm going to go with Eric Stokes here, okay? 6'1", 185-pounder. He's got a giant wingspan. I believe it's like 82 inches, and he's got long arms, and he's long and lanky. When I try to predict who the Seattle Seahawks are going to take, especially at the cornerback position, I go for athletes, and I go for athletes with length. It's hard to be able to predict which cornerbacks are going to be available, so I'm going to go with a guy that checks off a lot of those boxes, also played in the SEC. I'm going to go with Eric Stokes out of Georgia. Mariners fan. I'm a Mets fan. Should the Seahawks draft Landon Dickerson? The issue is I don't know if he's going to be available at number 56. He's probably the top center in this year's class, depending on how you slate some other players, but he could also play guard. But with the Seahawks having only picked 56, they also can't really trade up because they have a 4th-round pick and a 7th. If he's available, sure, but I don't know if he'll be there. Moot Shane, if DK Metcalf were in this draft and both him and Kyle Pitts were available, who would you take? I mean, I'm going to take DK Metcalf because I know what DK Metcalf is, and it's not really that fair of a question. But if you're telling me right now I get a top 5, top 6, top 8 receiver in the draft, you take that guy. Do I think DK Metcalf benefits from being in an offense like Seattle? Yes, I do. Do I think he benefits from having a quarterback like Russell Wilson and having somebody up opposite of him like Lockett? Yes, I do. But Kyle Pitts is a very good player. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a little bit better of a version of Darren Waller, so it depends what you value that as. I personally don't take tight ends that high, and if you are going to take a tight end in the top 10, he better be somebody like a Travis Kelce. He better be somebody like a Darren Waller, or he better be like somebody like a George Kittle, which I actually think he could be, but I'm going to take DK Metcalf. All right, let's go to Demonz 75. Do you think Jalen Mayfield is a 1st-round or early 2nd to mid-2nd-round pick? What team do you think would be most or best fit for him? I think the Chiefs. I do think the Chiefs would be a good fit for him. I personally wouldn't take Jalen Mayfield in round 1, and it has not so much to do with him. It's more to do with the amount of depth at the offensive tackle position. He has high upside, but he's still a little bit of a baby in terms of development overall. Overall, very athletic player from Michigan, but I could see him falling out of the first 50 picks because of the depth and the depth only. I mean, we got to think about it. This is one of the more deep classes in terms of offensive line talent, so just keep that in mind. Let's go to Daniel Shegog. Who is your favorite day 3 prospect? My favorite day 3 prospect. It's a good question. I'm going to go with a guy like Javian Hawkins, who's a running back that I've done a lot more research on. He's a running back from Louisville. Let's go with a player, Larnell Coleman, offensive tackle from Massachusetts. I'm trying to think of the receiver from South Dakota State, what his name is. I believe he's going to get taken on day 3. He's like a sneaky little slot receiver. I thought he had a pretty good pro day. I would have originally said Quinn Miners, but he's definitely going to go a lot higher now. Caleb Johnson, that's Cade Johnson. That's definitely that's the guy from South Dakota State. Those are probably the top guys off the top of my mind right now. But we'll see some other guy. Who's the guy from Auburn who ran that insane 40 time, 4.26? Anthony Schwartz. He's another guy that I think is pretty interesting. So what do y'all think is the biggest rivalry in the NFL? There's a lot of big-time rivalries in sports. There's no doubt about it. Like when I think of baseball, I think of the Yankees and the Red Sox. When I think of basketball, I still think of the Lakers and the Celtics, even though maybe it might be a little bit different now. But when I think of the NFL, I have a lot more rivalries that come to my mind. I mean, I think of the Steelers and the Ravens. I think of the Saints and the Falcons. I think of teams like the Raiders and, I don't know, like the Chiefs would be a good one. The Seahawks and the 49ers. Like, there's a lot of really big-time rivalries out there. The Eagles and the Cowboys. What do you think is the biggest rivalry in the NFL? I want you to go down and comment it below.